Why did I trust you?
Well, you didn't have a choice, Isaac. I told you there was a cure and you came running.
Why are you doing this?
Today we're going to talk about one of the greatest sci-fi video game properties ever to hit the shelves. And into my sweaty palms, this is Dead Space. The Dead Space series. If you don't know the Dead Space series, well now you might know. And play that series. Play the Dead Space. Play the Dead Spaces. The Dead Space series, I first played Dead Space back in, I think, 2009. I was a big fan of the game. Even before that, I was following it as a young little tyke, and going, okay, this looks like my favorite movie, Alien. You know, this looks like Sigourney blasting aliens with a flamethrower kind of action that I want in my life, along with that Resident Evil 4 kind of over-the-shoulder third-person camera action going on. Holy shit, does it hit it out of the park. I think Dead Space 2 is the perfect culmination of cinematic storytelling in a horror game. It takes you, Isaac Clarke, who is now a voice protagonist by actor Gunnar Wright, who did a phenomenal job kind of adding a voice to the character that is, well, not voiced at all in the first game. And I've realized that Gunnar Wright has returned to reprise his role in the remake, which is great. He was a great actor for the character. I think a lot of people preferred him silent, but I don't understand that since he doesn't talk very much in the subsequent games. I think in the third one it's more of like a weird horror sitcom. It's a very weird. The third Dead Space is a very strange game. Still fun, but it's just it changes and adds a lot of things that were unnecessary. And you be the judge. Okay, we're not talking about that one right now. But yeah, in Dead Space 2, it throws you into the Sprawl, which is on Titan Station, orbiting the one of Saturn's moons, Titan. There you go. And of course, there's a necromorph outbreak, and it's up to Isaac to escape and figure out what's going on and why there's another marker there and all this stuff. And yeah, you know, it just adds more of a narrative in the second one, and the gameplay is incredible. I was just playing through it again recently, and it's another one of those games. I think it came out in 2011, and it holds up beautifully. It still looks great. It's really clean looking, and clean on the graphical edges at least. It's a very dirty game, very bloody, very gory, very spooky. But holy shit, this game just holds its atmosphere beautifully, and it's just so fucking cool. You get all your different suits, all your weapons, which are mainly returning from the first game with the addition of a few. There was a multiplayer element, which was actually like a little bit entertaining, but was obviously not the focus there. That was just EA getting its hooks into the pot, if you will, as they always tend to do at some point or another. It's the pure narrative bliss of a survival situation in a sci-fi horror environment, and takes Isaac from being, this engineer who you'll be reminded that Isaac has dementia, and you'll be seeing his dead girlfriend, Nicole Brennan, from the previous game. Just adds to the haunting atmosphere of this game whenever it comes about, and truly just maintains the eerie tone throughout the game. Of course, returning here is the quintessential limb-chopping necromorph gameplay where you have your plasma cutter or your javelin or your flamethrower, and you're just going to town on these psychos, and it's these things fall apart in such a terrifying, disgusting manner. It's so addicting and awesome to play and rip through these things, and because they will rip through you. They are very aggressive. Not the best at a cocktail party. But with also the release of this game, we saw like the Halo jumps and the zero gravity environments and the terrifying bosses and sequences that are kind of reminiscent of Uncharted in certain ways. These quick time events where you just mash A, but it still adds this tension, but just these moments that are so cinematic and badass with like just flying off into crazy situations. They'll have like Isaac just hurtling into space, and you have to shoot the right canister to make something blow up, and it saves your ass and like sends you careening. And it's just all these great moments like that have just stuck in my mind over the years to make this game truly special. Now, all that being said, I think it's fair to say that there is a hunger for this series' triumphant return. And of course the remake showing us that people are still very interested, and that this legacy series could potentially have a future here. And I think it does. And whether they go to remake the second one, which I don't feel like would be entirely necessary, I'd still like to see it. It'd still be fun to see it at least. Dead Space 2 with like top-notch graphics. Do you need to say more? Yeah, sure. Especially if it's a full-ass remake, I am, sure. And if Gunnar writes back, if it's looking as good as this current remake does, oh mama. But should Dead Space reappear? Should it come back with like sequels? And of course, I second that. I say yes. The third one ended on a really strange note, and while that game is still fun to play, like its co-op is fun. If you actually sat down with a friend and played it online co-op, it's creative and weird and fun still. Like its storyline wasn't necessarily the worst part about it. It was the fact that it's more of an action game that didn't adhere to its kind of survival horror action roots. I mean, it's more of a teeter-totter effect, where the second one is like perfectly balanced. The first one's more lenient towards survival. The third one is just full-on co-op action horror shooting gallery, essentially. They even added like a roll button and a crouch button because you have to shoot at like government agents and shit. It goes in weird places, and again, it's a weird beast. That third one's a weird beast. But it's still fun. It's still worth playing, and it ends the story on such a harsh note. If you played through the DLC, I think it was called Aftermath or something like that, and I remember it being very hectic, and it ending with the Earth being overtaken by the Necromorph plague, and it just kind of ends, just cuts to black like The Sopranos. It's just a full-ass hard stop ending. And then EA was like, you know what, we're not doing anything more with this. And then Glenn Schofield and crew were like, well, great. That's great news. And then years later, the Callisto Protocols drops, like that's how it goes. EA just loves to give their best titles the chances they deserve, don't they? But anyway, Dead Space 2. I think it is the benchmark of quality in the series. I think it is the #1 game in the series worth really jumping into. Of course, the first one's worth playing too, but oh mama, I think the second one is truly the best for just bringing that series into superstardom and making all sorts of good with that material. Anyway, I've been Garlic-Focaccia. Have a good one. Don't get lost in space.